My name is Serena Buffalino. I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. My career started off as a special education teacher. When my students found out that there were kids in this world that did not have the right to go to school, inspired them. The concept behind the Haiti School Building Project was a small handful of youth in Toronto would help a small handful of youth here in Haiti. The Haiti School Building Project finally opened up last year, September 2018. It has successfully been running for 7 months now, and what I have seen is nothing shy of beautiful. One person with the support of others can literally transform the planet.
Hello, hello, hello.
Good morning, Miss Barbara Beckley. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing wonderful now that things got better with an email. See, one thing about us, and Barbara knows this as the BBs, and we will introduce ourselves after this. We always got to give you a lesson learned, when we start.
Yep. Lesson learned, yes.
I was so happy. Okay, I'm going to say this. I was excited. For this show where it's just going to be me and the BBs today. And I said, okay, I'm going to make sure I send my queen, my other Barbara, the information for the link, everything early. I'm going to send everything together. And I said, we're going to be ready to roll, like they say. And then this morning I get a text from my wonderful queen and she tells me, link with a question mark. And I was like, wait a minute. I know the email went through. What's going on? Google. So I'm thinking everything else, like system oriented. I go back to the email that I sent. Yeah, it's like, okay, Barbara, here's a link. No link in the email. None.
And the thing is, though, too, you did send it to me a couple of days ago. Did I go look at it? No. So between the two of us, we were both today was like, hey, a BB faux pas.
We should use it. That's a new word now. Oh, Barbara. See, that's why I love doing the show because yeah. So just
for once it wasn't tech issues.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. This was a truly person issue.
Only person between the two of us. Yeah.
No tech here. Just usually it's tech, right? Usually we can be like, yeah, it was personal. Error. And lesson learned, but I got to put the lesson learned out there. So lesson learned is when you send an email and you have information that you're trying to send, double check the email after you sent it. It's good to do that. It's like a plan just to make sure that whatever you needed to send was in that email. I'm talking about links. I'm talking about attachments. Anything that you had. Yes.
Been there, done that. And also lesson learned is when you see something that is relevant, go look at it. The people that know me, it's like email is not always my friend. And so, yeah, I'm trying to get better.
Well, that's what we're all. I mean,
but that's all we can hope for. And
yeah.
and that ties absolutely right in with our topic for today.
Yes, yes, yes. But before we get to that,
Yeah,
before we get to that
exactly.
topic, because we're going to be talking about are you hiding from your clients? Are you being visible enough so they know who you are? And when and myself and the other Miss Barbara Queen is gonna, talk about some things, give you some stories, give you some lessons learned, because I do have a few stories about hiding and not hiding. And I know Barbara probably has some of hers too.
Mm-hmm.
But before we start, if you just chimed in, you are in the right place on a Wednesday morning. Time to shine. Happiness show with the BBs. And we come every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. I try to do the two main ones, to basically just talk about how being happiness should be the norm. It really should. It's so easy. I just want to put this out here real quick. I always say that it's so easy to get to the negative quickly. Well, how about if this doesn't go wrong? Or, I didn't send the link in the email. Oh my God, the show has to stop. We can't have the show. I mean, really? No. We make it a learning experience like we did this example today. And we keep it going and we put that smile on, because you know what? Every second of the day, and I'm going to put this out here, is so important to treasure. Every second of the day. So why be all frowny about it? Why be all sad and negative about it? I always tell people, put your more energy on happiness and helping people and reaching out, more so than being upset or being depressed or being like, oh my God, will this ever happen? Because you know what? Life is life and you just live it.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara, you want to add to that?
Couldn't have said it better. Absolutely. And the only thing I would add to it, so often people think, well, life happens to them. Well, yeah, sometimes it does, but what's it trying to teach you? Mm-hmm. And so I kind of go with, I can choose to accept this as just a little, ooh, what do I need to learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
And choose to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, this is something that I needed to learn.
Yes.
Or rather than just, well, I get into all the negative. It's like, yeah, no. I think, and I think personally, it comes down to a choice.
Yeah.
You
choose. We always talk about that, right? It comes down to a choice.
Sometimes it's a harder choice. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, let's keep it
real. But it is still
you keeping it real, Barbara. Sometimes it's a harder choice.
Sometimes it's a harder choice.
And I wanted to say, now that you said this, I always got my stories and things that I bring examples for. One thing, just the other few days ago, a friend of mine, I was just texting you because I do my check-ins with people. That's what I do, for the mental health. Mental health is real, people. Just let you know, do those check-ins with people. So I was checking in with this particular person because they do get depressed. They have, a history of depression. So I always try to make sure each weekly I reach out to them. And so I was like, it was Sunday. I said, hey, happy Sunday. That's what I usually do. How you doing? And they like, oh my God. My whole day. Now it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I was like, the whole day just kind of really started. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking that. They said, oh, and they live with their mother. And their mother, I think she's like 86. Yeah. And they're in their 50s. So he's like, I can't believe Ma, I told her I need to do this. And then she wants to go and do something different. I said, Ma, not today. And I mean, he was going on and on in this text about how he was so upset about things not going right. She want to do her thing. He want to do his thing. And And I said, I sent the text back and I said, breathe. First I said, breathe. Then I said, cherish every moment with your mother, no matter what. Because one day you're going to wake up and you're not going to be able to do the things with her. Like I can't. I know I put a little guilt thing there, just a little bit.
And sometimes we need that little wake up call.
Yeah. Yeah, because they always complain about their mother. And I'm like, she's 86 years old. She's still with you. You still have time to, salvage that moment instead of complain about everything that's what's going on with her. And, and then I told them too, I said, okay, she's not 40 anymore. She's not 50. She's 86. There's going to be some things that slow her down and whatever. But at least she can move and talk and she can think and she understands stuff. Yeah. But that's just like going back to making that decision, as we just said, and looking at it in another way instead of looking at it as, oh my da. So now you wasted all that energy. I'm talking about wasting energy now.
Right.
And talking about and you could have been doing something so beautiful to create another memory with your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And I get it. I mean, people get, okay, when my mother was alive, I'm going to say it, I loved her to death, but yeah, sometimes she got on my
once in a while.
We all get on each other's nerves sometimes. I mean,
we're people.
We're people,
I get on my own nerves. It's like, let's be real. So I'll share one of my things. This past week, it was like it was just one of those, I said, she said, customer service said, and it was going around and 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 around. And hours and hours later, still not resolved.
Oh, wow.
And I was just beside myself. I was supposed to do a meeting. I went on to the meeting. I said, I am so sorry. I am having a mental meltdown. I am melting down. I cannot be here right now. And they said, Barb, we're fine. Take care. We'll take care of it for you. Bye. Okay. And right at this moment, it's still not completely resolved. However, after that total meltdown, I realized the learning of it was that I cannot change the situation what it is right now. I can't. The only thing I have control over is how I am looking at it and how I am handling it. And finally, the next morning, Friday, Barb, I'll tell you, can you see me doing this? Here's me standing here in front of my computer and I am laughing so hard. I'm like, oh, for heaven's sakes, Barbara, what are you doing? This is what you teach. What are you doing? You have been having this nervous practically breakdown for the last day and a half over something that you have no control over. And I went, right. So now I guess all of the things that have to go on are now going to be resolved, like by the 24th, just because if time glitches, and by the 24th and the 25th. So this morning it was like, okay, Lord, if you can move it up a bit, I would greatly appreciate it. But you know what? I am just going to enjoy the waiting because I can't do anything about it. It's one of those things. But I think why that ties into what we're talking about today. Sometimes we hide behind our anger. What's it hiding? Why was I so upset? And that was, and in this case, I was upset with myself. Because I was just getting more and more, it was getting more and more frustrating. And I was like, and then I realized that this is not about me. It's just the situation. So I think sometimes we tend to do that. And rather than just being vulnerable and saying, hey, you know what? When I went to my meeting, I said, you know what? It was just, hey, I just cannot do this right now. I just can't. And she just looked at me. She said, that's fine, Barb. No problem.
And you know what? That's nice that they understood that. I mean, I like both ways that you just was like, you know what? I can't do this right now. They were like, okay,
be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I was just right at that moment. And she was like, we'll take care of it.
You know, the other thing I love what you said too, Barbara, is that he was like, I teach this. See, so
Exactly.
sometimes what we teach others teaches us. I'm telling you, it comes back, and we have to remember what we even tell people. Yeah.
And you know what? And that's exactly what I said to a couple of friends of mine later on. It was like we talk about that you get to the edge and you have a choice. You can fall off the edge into anger, frustration, and just be so and then quit. Or you can come to the edge and you can step back and say, okay, what's happening? And that's in that way. But then on the other side of that is the other edge, is that what is happening now that is trying to make you quit? Or are you going to persevere and go past the edge to the next stepping stone that's going to be slightly higher, that will bring you to a next higher level?
Ooh, I like that. That's
And
good.
that's where it was like, okay, Barbara, are you going to step back? You step off in anger and go further into the abyss? Or are you going to step back, take a second, realize you're at an edge, and then go, hey, I am going to step off. I am consciously going to make the choice of stepping off the edge to the next level rather than going down in the pit. And that's what happens for people so often. They take the step, but they take the step in the wrong direction. They fall off the edge and they go into the dark side. Okay.
Wow.
Or you can choose to walk off the edge, conscious to the next higher level step up.
And I think it has to do with a lot, like you said, with fear and not thinking the unknown. So you're like, oh no, am I going to make it? Is it going to happen? Am I making this mistake? All that stuff starts to twirl in your head.
Should I really be doing this? Because it was a learning curve for me. Should I be doing this? And then of course you start doubting yourself of everything. And then of course the deceiver amplifies everything. Well, should I be doing this? Well, if I shouldn't be doing this, should I be doing? Oh, gee, I'm gonna have to rethink my entire life.
It just gets into that
because it spirals. It spirals. So that's what, are you hiding and so I think that's why I think that's probably one of the reasons why I suggested this topic for the show today. Just because are you hiding being vulnerable, that you do have issues, that you do have, we all have issues that come up in our lives.
Yeah.
How are you handling them? And be vulnerable when you handle them. I did not handle it the first day well. I'm going to put it out there. I did not. I was a.
Well, I was thinking when you were talking about, making those decisions, taking that plunge, not going to the abyss, but going to the next level and everything. And I've been kind of away a little bit, the last 3 weeks from like social media because just real quick and not to get into detail, but has a big health challenge and some issues in my life just in the last 3 to 4 weeks to the point it was almost life-threatening. And after all that happened, Barbara, and me and you talked last week about it in more detail, but I want to bring out the fact that even sometimes in your life, certain things happen for you to kind of rethink, reanalyze, look at things a little bit different. Look at the time that you're spending on stuff, like you said, Barbara. Is this wasted time, or this is time, energy that's getting you to that next whatever is supposed to happen?
Feeding you and taking you to the next level.
Level. And I was looking at all that last week. I even wrote in my, because I have a little notebook where I have my notes and stuff that I write, and I wrote this big circle, right? And then I put me in the middle.
Right.
And then what I did, it's kind of like I call it like a mind map or whatever.
Right.
And then I put everything that I do, I have the Diamond Factor Network. I have my day job. I do Toastmasters at times. I'm in Celebrate You group at times. So I was writing everything that I do. And then I did that whole thing, Barbara. And then there was this little spot for me time.
Exactly.
And I did that for a reason, because I'm like, okay, with all this going on, where's the me time? And I had to go back and say, well, maybe not, you never know why things happen health wise, but maybe because the me time wasn't there, or taking care of me this way,
Yes.
something was missing. So that really had me think, okay, either looking at all these things I do in this whole circle with Barbara in the middle, which one is really bringing me pleasure? Which one is really wasting some time? Which one should even be in whatever? I mean, it shouldn't even be there. And I started looking at some things that I told myself I might let go. I mean, totally let go, which some things, and I just being honest, like you said, we're always open here. I think some things I haven't let go, Barbara, because I felt like I was going to disturb other people, like make them upset, or, make them feel like, okay, really, you've been doing this, and now you're just going to just go bye bye.
And now you're just going to stop. That's the saboteur that is making you think that, oh, what are people going to think? Who am I going to let down?
Yeah, there you go.
What are they going to think? Well, yeah, exactly. And those are tough questions, and sometimes we do hide behind that. And so, hey, Barb, power to you, because those are some of the hard decisions, and yet been there, done that. And just, we love the fact that you're bringing it out, because we all have that. We all have those instances where we have to say, you know what, I cannot do this anymore.
Yeah. Or sometime, I remember one time, I think a few weeks ago, we were talking about, and we were like, I don't even like doing this.
and right. There were a couple of things that, and I think I went through this about maybe a year or so ago, that it was like, I don't like doing this. Why am I doing this? And now the funny thing is, I don't even remember what it was.
You see how
obviously I was really supposed to have let it go. But now I remember feeling pressure to do something that it was like, I don't think I like doing this.
That's good. I'm glad you just said that. That's another thing to think about, to others that are listening, is that if it feels like you're just like that pressure and it's
grinding,
it's just, it's like, okay, somewhere you got to ask your question, like, should I really be, doing this? Do I really like doing it? Why is it always this struggle all the time? And, and if you're trying to please others to a certain extent, it's like, okay, you got to rethink that too. So I'm really putting it out there, because I said, just going back to my friend, telling him, treasure every moment in life. You only have this. So I don't want to waste it on things that really is not going to be doing, that don't matter. And like you said, probably I'll let go of this thing, and you ask me a few months, and I'm going to be like, what was it?
What was it? That's I remember, see, and that's the thing, Barb. That's one of the things that I try to share with people. You will remember the feelings. You don't always remember what caused it. It's like I'll give you an example. Right now, the Hatfields and the McCoys, that feud is still going on to this day. They have no idea what started it, but the feelings are still there.
Yeah.
The feeling will come up, and then you'll be able to say, well, where did that come from? And like right now, I remember that feeling of like, I don't even like doing this. What am I doing this for? And now I couldn't tell you what it was. But I knew the feeling was there. The feeling was, and it's like now it's like, oh yeah, well, I guess obviously I wasn't supposed to do it, because now I don't feel that feeling anymore. I remember the feeling,
but I
don't feel it anymore. I don't feel that pressure. It's kind of like the pressure to perform or whatever that is.
Yeah. And I'm feeling good about, doing this whole, to me, it was like an exercise for me. Right. And this is not just for me, but, I always, like I said, tell my thing, so it might help somebody else out there. That I know once I do make these decisions, because it's one thing to say, okay, I need to, maybe not do this or do something different here. It's another thing to say, okay, now the next step is to do it, to say, okay, I'm not doing it no more. Boom. And if anybody's attached to it, now you got to have that conversation.
Have that, right. Right.
Yeah.
You have to be respectful of the other people involved.
Yeah.
And I
Even
think
though they might get upset at you because you might be, a main intricate of it, but you have to,
an integral part of it. But
Mhm.
the thing is, though, that's part of, and having that conversation is stepping out of your comfort zone. It's
Yeah.
they're hard conversations to have. They really are. But
Yeah.
they're also necessary, because you can't just kind of drop off the face of the earth and
Oh,
go,
no, that would be,
you know,
like you
and
said.
yet people do that.
Well, yeah,
And
because
yet
I know a
people
lot of
do
people that
that.
done that to me. I know some people that done that to me, Barbara, and you're right.
Yeah,
You can't
that they
just
have just that's like they have just, and that's a form of hiding too, because it's not stepping up and taking the heat. Yesterday I was on a podcast, and that was one of the things that we were talking about, of leadership. And I said,
Mm,
one of the big things of leadership is that if you mess up, or if you change your mind, step up, fess up that okay, I've changed my mind, or I've done this.
mhm,
Take the heat for it, but then go
mhm,
on.
mhm.
Because when it all comes down to it, we have to be at peace
Accountable.
within ourselves,
Yeah, and be as a leader, be accountable, because
and be
I always tell
accountable.
people, all of us are leaders in our own right, and people are watching you, and they watch what you do, what kind of decisions you make, how you handle certain things, and if you just, like you said, disrespect and all that kind of stuff, then they're going to be like, well, you question, your leadership skills on that. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
That's why I
Exactly.
like being a servant leader, because I'm here to serve, and hopefully through what I do and how I serve is helping others look at that and say, "Oh, okay,
Right.
you
Right.
know, that's how you do
Exactly.
it." Well,
Yeah.
with that, we're going to go to a sponsor. And then we're going to come right back and we're going to talk a little bit more about, are you hiding? I'm going to give a
Yeah.
few, that me and Barbara going to give
And
a few tips
and
about,
visibility. And I have a social media question to ask you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we'll get into that as soon as we come right back.
Good Friday, everyone. Your real worth isn't defined by your net worth. What makes you valuable is how you use what you have been given. All of us have gifts. Make sure you're making the most of yours. Have an amazing Friday.
It is now the bottom of the hour. I'm excited to welcome Nancy Matthews to our program today. Nancy is an author of a book. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in the carousel for you guys. There it is, The One Philosophy. I want to talk to Nancy not only about the re-release of the book, but also what it's been like for her to share the message with all of you guys. Nancy, great to have you on with us.
Hello, hello, hello. So happy to be here.
And we are back. So if you're just chiming in, this is the Time to Shine Happiness Show with the BBs, the Queen BBs, as I always call the ladies queens. And we are queens. We got our crowns. They're there. So
Yeah,
they're there. There's just it always. We just got to fix it up sometime. But we're talking about today about, are you hiding? I said, are you hiding, from your client, from prospective maybe investors? It could be anybody, but you have to ask yourself, are you hiding from them? Are you giving the visibility out there that you need so people to get to know who you are? And I know that myself, and it's funny because we didn't do our introductions earlier, but visibility.
Unofficially, I guess.
Unofficially, we did. But myself, I do help people get visibility in their lives. I'm the one that says, okay, what's your purpose? What's your main purpose? Who are you truly? Not just your title. And then when we
Right.
dig deep on that, then you got to be out there. People need to get to know you, because if you're trying to help the world or just people in general, whatever your clients are, they need to know who you are. They need to see you. They need to hear you. And a lot of times I tell people, some people ask me, well, I'm kind of scary to do video, so I just kind of do audio, and sometimes scared to do that. I said, okay, when your purpose, I always say, when your purpose overshadows your fear, that's when you know when you're in the right zone. Because I always tell people I was very, very shy, very, very fearful. I wouldn't be on here right now talking to the other BB right now. In fact, I wouldn't even had a conversation with Barbara because I'd have been too shy to talk to her. And see, I always look back, and it's been 13 years. It's been a while there, but I always go back there, because if it wasn't for a breaking point for myself, and the breaking point was, I just got fed up. I got fed up for where I was. I got fed up for people. I was there, but I was there, but they didn't see me. And the reason why they didn't see me, because I wasn't talking, I wasn't saying things. And it took a manager at my company to bring all this up front to me and say, Barbara, you're awesome, amazing employee. You do spectacular work. You've been here for over 20-some years, but people don't even know who you are. I was like, whoa, Barbara, when that was like, boom, like, I come here every day. I'm thinking to my mind, okay, I come in the building every day. I'm at this cubicle every day. What are you talking about? They don't know, But I really had to understand what she was saying. And that was like that, that aha moment. That aha moment.
Right. Because one of the things that I always share with people too is your words matter, good or bad. So by not they either they don't think about you at all, or they just go, it's like, well, she's so stuck up, thinks she's better than us, hiding in plain sight. Absolutely. And yet the opposite is true. Our words matter. So because when we don't put ourselves out there, we're saying that we're not worthy.
Yeah.
We feel that we're not worthy.
And I'm glad that you
or worthy of praise, or worthy of acceptance.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And it was, it was all about, I had to look within myself. And sometimes that's a hard thing to do. Yeah. I had to look right into me and say, okay, what is this? It's so easy to say, well, this is happening and they didn't do this. And I didn't have, the opportunity, or, whatever it might be. But then you have
I had an awful childhood, or I had a
childhood, or,
all of those things.
Yeah. Or, another thing, I was bullied when I was younger, and this and that. And, and I'm not taking, because I know a lot of people been there in their lives, including yours truly. But I don't want to take all that as excuses to move forward in what I need to do to help others. Because technically, when you hold yourself back, or when you, like you said, Barbara, when you're just like, you don't think you're worthy, everything like that, the gifts that you have in you is being stagnated to help others, because you're so busy into, well, no, this and that. Just think about it. If Barbara Ellison didn't do what she was doing right now, you know how many people would be missing out on her coaching and her mentorship and her wisdom? Yeah. Oh my God. I'd be like, I'm missing out on so much. I've learned so much from Barbara. So, you have to, that visibility is so important. It's not just, oh, I got to be visible. You know how some people say, yeah, I got to be visible. But it's more deeper than that. It's really proving to yourself, like Barbara said, how worthy you are. Yeah. I love that.
And what impact that you want to make on the world. Because one of the things that I share with my clients too is that, especially if they happen to be entrepreneurs. People don't like to be sold to, but they love to buy. Okay. So now, what can you do to get yourself out there? Because people cannot buy, we all have bills to pay. So we all have services and products that we market. Like I'm in the wellness space, and I have coaching things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. However, if I don't tell that to people, if I don't get myself out there and get visible, people cannot buy from you if they don't know who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Yes.
And it's the why you do it that so often people, they don't get it. They
Yeah.
don't realize that people want to know, why do you do it? Like
Yes.
I work with late career professionals who are right now, they're facing retirement and they have no idea of who they are outside of their job title and their job description. And
Mm-hmm.
because they're under that stress, their body is falling apart. They're probably on blood pressure medication. Their joints are hurting. They're gaining weight. Whatever that is looks like in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they're facing a crisis and they're not talking about it. Well, that's where I come in. Come and talk to me. And let's talk about where you are right now. And I have 2 assessments that I have people do. One is on their personality, and one is on their positive intelligence.
Mm.
Okay, let's see where you are right now. Because then in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, we have something to say, oh, this is where I was. Look at how far I've come.
Victory! I love it.
And yay for me. But if you don't
Yes.
have that or somebody to help you through that,
Mm-hmm.
you're hiding and you're just going through the motions and going through life. And life is too short to just go through it. And one of the things I think that I love is that it's like I say to people, I want you to thrive, not just survive. Are you so right now? This is for somebody out there. Are you just surviving your life?
Mm.
Are you just surviving your life? Rather than actually thriving and embracing, and your heart sings because you like your life. You love your life.
Now, I love that. Are you, what is it? Are you thriving or surviving?
Are you just survive or just surviving?
You
So
don't want
many
to go through
people
life
are out
just,
there. They're just surviving. They're leading lives of quiet desperation because they're not willing to admit that they're not thriving, that they are just struggling.
Yeah.
Put it out there. Come and go talk to somebody. And if you need professional help, go do that too.
That's what I
However,
was.
if you want to just get your life onto a different rail, hey, come talk to me. Come talk to Barb. Get your if your visibility is stuck. Can I ask my visibility question?
Well, okay, yeah, ask that, and then I'll go into something else that I wanted to share.
Because then we'll be done with it. Friends of mine, we talk about getting out of your comfort zone and doing something different and growing. Some friends of mine, we have started a TikTok campaign.
Oh yeah, I remember last week
TikTok.
you said that.
Okay, so I am now the fun-filled fasting chick on TikTok.
Okay,
that's my handle at fun-filled fasting chick on TikTok.
Okay, I got to pull you up now.
That's my hashtag. So now my question is, should you have that hashtag and put it on your other socials? Like my hashtag for my main thing is wellness playroom, hashtag wellness playroom. So should those go over between all your platforms?
Well, yeah, so they know that you're on TikTok, under that.
That's what I said. Yeah. And one of the gals said, well, you're just trying to take people from TikTok and over to there. I said, but it's part of my brand.
Yeah, it's part of your brand. Just
wellness playroom. Okay.
So now, I mean, think about it. This is like listing that you're on Facebook, that you're on LinkedIn, that you're on IG, that you're on X, now X.
Right. That's what I thought.
It's the same thing with, hashtags. I mean, yeah. So
that's what I thought.
I
said, I'm going to ask an expert.
This is going to go back to the visibility. How do they know where to find you on TikTok if they don't know your handle?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yep. Saying thank you. So that was my question. So now I'm done. Now you're going to show because you are an expert in it. I said, I'm going to ask the expert.
Well, thank you for calling me an expert. I love that.
Yeah.
But I'm forever learning. I tell people I'm forever learning too. I tell people if I don't know the answer, I'll get the answer because I want to
Right.
make sure I help you.
But isn't that the definition of being an expert? Is that you're always learning to be
forever learning
better than what you are.
and wanting to help others and make sure that you get the right information. One thing I'm going to say it like this, Barbara. I'm going to say it out. I can't stand when coaches or mentors will tell a client or a person saying, I don't really understand that, but then they'll make up something or they'll just throw something out there. And I'm like, how is that helping them? How is that helping that person? Just be honest with them and yourself and say, you know what? I need to get back with you on that because that's one thing I need to just look a little into more because I want to make sure I give you the right information. That's easy to say, but some people feel, well, that's vulnerable. They're not going to think I'm this, or they don't think, I'm supposed to be this expert and all that stuff. Well, expert has integrity.
Right.
You got integrity, accountability as being a leader in what you do as a coach. And that's one of the things you need to make sure that your integrity is saying, look, I just don't know that right now. Let me figure that out for you.
Right.
So yeah. But one thing I wanted to say, just there's a few things, but with the show, there's one main thing that Barbara stated earlier that I wanted to tag into is people understanding the why of what you do. Yeah. And just to, like I said, I always give examples to make my point. I was talking to another client a few months ago, and I asked them, I said, okay, so what do you do? I just asked them, I said, what do you do? They said, well, I'm in the nonprofit organization, and, I help people, with, dealing people, that's homeless and everything. I said, okay. I said, so what makes you different than other nonprofit organizations that do that? And she's like, oh, I never thought. She's like, she looked at me. She's like, I never thought. She said, well, I just like helping people. And I said, but why? And I could tell she was getting irritated. I was doing what you do, how we keep digging.
You have to go 7 layers down.
Yeah. And I said, but there's a why there. And she finally told me that her and her daughter was homeless a long, long time ago. I said, bingo, we just hit it. And she said, well, we just hit. She said, because I'm thinking about this. And she was getting a little bit, emotional and stuff. I said, but people need to see that so they know your why on how important it is to be a part of that nonprofit organization. So people will either come and help or give money or that's what you're trying to get them to do, right? So, but they have to hear your heart.
Right.
They have to hear your heart because you know what? That builds the trust. That builds the credibility for you on why you do what you do. And she's like, wow, I never thought of that. So that's why I said, now you need to work on your story, telling your story instead of just saying what I do. Well, I'm in a nonprofit and we help blah, blah, blah. Okay. I mean, that's wonderful and everything, but people do that all the time. I mean, that's on a website. That's in a blurb. That's in a blog, in a blog. You need to make sure that you're telling your story so people can hear it and see you. Because when she told me that story, that made me want to go to the website. That made me want to see what she does. That made me want to even think about helping them. Yeah.
Exactly. Because you have to, so many people get it backwards. They think that if they do this, they'll have this. And so once they have that, X, Y, Z, whatever it is, they'll become this. I have told, for my clients, I just totally started, hey, hate to tell you this, Barbara, you've got it backwards. And I'll be very honest with them. You're getting it a little bit backwards. You have to, who are you going to become? You yourself, your best version of you. Once you become that best version of you, called to do what you are called to do and doing it to the best of your ability, then you are going to do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. And helping the people that you're supposed to be helping. And then you will automatically have everything that you could possibly want, more than you could think or imagine. Yes. But so many people have it. They have the I'll do to have to be. No. It's you have to be, then you will do, then you will have. And if I can get them to that moment where they go, you got you, and that was what you did. You got that woman to her moment. Oh, right. This is who I am.
Yes.
And now she's going to be able to, she'll change the world.
Yes. Yes.
She'll change the world.
She has a
And
whole
you'll
different perspective
help her
now.
do
Yeah.
it. 'Cause
And
you're-
now she said her, even because she came back to me, she said even my whole conversation is different, Barbara, when I talk to people, because she said she had this like inbranded in her brain how she just said, oh yeah, I'm da 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 da.
This is
It's
what
like
you do.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now people are like, oh, and I told her, I said, example, going back to you, Barry, I use this example too, because you always got so much wisdom. Your story, when we first met and you told me how, especially on the health part of it, powerful. When you told me your story, and that's how I remember why it's that bridge. I always tell people your bridge, where you were before, what happened, your aha moment, whatever made you say, boom, I need to do whatever. And then what you're doing now, and how not just you help yourself get out of whatever, but now you're helping so many other people. Always, that's one thing that I tell people, if you want to remember about telling your story, that's one of the technique, is I call it the bridge. Right. So you stay where you were. Like I just said earlier, I was the shyest person in the world, it seemed like, in my mind.
Right.
I was invisible. I was hidden on hidden. It was like, who are you? Who are you? To having an aha moment of like, and sometimes it comes from other people, places, and things. Tell people, it's sometimes the inner doesn't tell you. Sometimes somebody got to tell you on the outer side, and then you go in the inner and say, oh, okay, and then find that out, and then make decisions on how you get out of that. And one of the things that helped me out, and I'm going to give a little plug to Toastmasters, is that I joined a Toastmasters club, which is basically a club where they do leadership and communication, and they help you with that. And I grew in that. It's 14 years now I've been in an organization now. And I'm a president over a club now. I've been in leadership in different areas in Toastmasters. But I told myself, if I want to do this, I'm going to do it. I always tell people, whatever I do, I want to be the best at what I'm doing. So I took it on like it was a job because it was helping me get out of that comfort zone of being shy. So now, I always make that joke. Now people be like, okay, Barbara, can you stop talking? I mean, okay. Really?
Exactly.
You've been
Exactly.
Like,
and and there's those two things. It's like people say to me, how can you do a podcast at the drop of a hat? Well, because it's fun. So that's what I want for my clients. Find the thing that's fun for you and do that. And then everything else will fall into place.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we have responsibility. Yes, we have to do the things that we need to do. But it has to start with that it's fun to do.
Yeah. Just like we were saying earlier, if it's something that's hard and you'll be like, why am I doing this? I'm not even liking this. Then let it go.
Right.
Let it go.
Let it go.
And I'm talking to myself too.
When we were trying to. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that we have to learn our own lessons.
Yeah.
We have to learn our own lessons. Where I realize now that I spent so much of my life living by somebody else's rules. And the moment when I woke up and said, I cannot do this for another moment, it was the scariest. One of those where you're just shaking and going, it was the scariest moment of my life, because what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to me?
Yeah.
I'm now turning my back on so much learning of 60 years of labeling myself as a wife and a mother and a divorced failure, and then a successful wife again, and a business owner and a grandmother, and now I'm a widow. Who is Barbara in all of that? And I think that's where my passion came, that now I work with the people who are now, they don't know who they are outside of they're clinging to their job title or their job description. It's the same thing. Yeah. Same feelings.
Yeah.
It's the scariest moment of your life when you have to step outside of your title and your job description.
Yeah. Yeah. That goes what you said earlier about taking that next. Yeah.
That's next step up. You have to realize, and so many people don't do it. They don't make the transition.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they fall into drugs, alcohol, or death if they don't make the transition. And that's sad. I don't want that to happen to anyone, because I'm so grateful that I had a mentor and went and did the inner work. We have to start with, it has to start with making a decision. I could either stay in that small widow, I'm a widow for the rest of my life, and I would have just shriveled up and died, or like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And then once you start asking the question, who am I going to, then it starts with, who am I going to become? Who do I need to be to get that? I want to have a better life. And
definitely. Wow. Powerful. Well, Barbara,
it's a tough thing, though.
Yes. Can you believe
so that's why we need help. That's why we need help. And that's why you and I do this show.
Yes.
To let people know that you're not alone.
You're not alone. You are not alone. Yes. So with that, we're, the BBs today, Time to Shine Happiness Show. This was wonderful, Barbara. We're going to be doing more of just the BBs in the future, because, we have a lot. We have a lot that we do, and we have a lot that we want to share. And, the biggest thing is, through everything that we talk about, it all boils down to what Barbara always says is, it's making happiness the norm. Making sure that every second, some people say every day, I say every second of the day, not to wait, put that energy into happiness and good use, and just say to yourself, hey, just like Barbara said, if you can't do nothing about it, might as well just keep smiling, keep moving forward, and learn from it and grow from it. Yes. Yeah. So Barbara, I want your little thing. I know you always say.
I do want to say one thing. Forgive yourself it takes you a while to move on. I mean, it took me a day and a half to just get to the point where it was like I was laughing over my situation last week because I couldn't do anything about it. But it took me a day and a half. However, don't let it take years.
And if you see yourself going longer like that, then that's where Barbara said, reach out. reach out.
If you reach out to a listening ear, to just say, hey, this is what happened. And I wanted to chew my toenails, not my fingernails, but my toenails, because you're just bent over it. So
I was just going to say, you got to bring your foot up like that.
I could not. Yeah, there's no way, but to chew on your toenails, you're bent over and you're small and you're making your smallest person. And that's exactly what happens. They, rather than saying, okay, how can I use this to expand? They contract. And that's where talking to somebody comes in, because we do want to make happiness the norm rather than the exception. We all deserve to lead happy, healthy, debt-free, abundant lives. One day at a time.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. And as Barb says, 1 second at a time sometimes, but it is a choice.
Yeah. Make that choice. So with that, we will see everybody next Wednesday. I'm getting used to saying Wednesdays now.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you. Those Tuesdays was popping in.
We did it for years.
Yeah, I know. We did it for so long. So we'll see everybody next Wednesday I know we do have a guest next Wednesday, right? Well,
and now you're putting me on the spot, because now I'm absolutely blank.
Well, either way, if it's not a guest, it will be the BBs. So with that, we will see you next Wednesday, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.
All righty. We'll